Hello, guys. So after almost 2 months break, I felt like who I would like to connect with, that I feel good to have a chat and conversation with, and came out from this totally different energy that I was in. And I contacted Ashala, and I'm so happy she found time, because in her life there were a lot of changes as well. So welcome back, Ashala. Thank you for finding time, and thank you for being with me. And yeah, so
Thank you, Anya.
tell me, because let's start with you first. Like, you are in a new place.
Yeah. I was just saying, I moved in just a few days ago. I'm on the coast on Vancouver Island, right, like the ocean is like 50 steps from my door. It's so incredible. And I just got my new backdrop set up last night. So this is the first thing I'm doing with my new backdrop. It's so exciting. There's still some more stuff to add, but I wanted it to kind of have a fall going into the winter here in the northern hemisphere feeling to it. And so yeah,
Congratulations, big move.
thank
How you
you.
feel the energy? Tell me, because this is very fresh right now. How you feel the area?
Okay, well, the area, it's very interesting because I arrive here and there's almost like a kind of a hurricane warning, one of the worst weather patterns that they've had come through here in decades, literally showed up the day that I got here. And then also out in the harbor, there were 6 container ships that were on fire the night before I arrived. So we've got something going on right here where I am. And apparently I read up on it and there was toxic chemicals in those container ships. So I actually haven't been down to greet Mama Ocean yet because it's, what I feel like is I've arrived here on a scene of a lot of chaos and intensity, and I'm grounding myself down right in the eye of the storm and sending out all this beautiful healing medicine in every direction. And already what's happening in the networking aspect of things, which is what I was really keen on getting involved in, I've already been literally just miraculous connections in like 4 or 5 days, just people and
Yes.
beautiful alliances with people who are on this awake journey.
You're attracting the energy,
Yeah,
like you're
well, yeah, and it feels like we're ready. We're ready for another level of actualization and connection. And yeah, like just a lot of the old polarization and, the shadow stuff of us feeling so frightened and overwhelmed and overpowered. A lot of that feels like it's dissipating, and there's a clarity, a kind of a destiny. I said in my last soul sampler, like locking into our spiritual destiny, which has so much potency that it starts to allow the other stuff to just, have less influence over us emotionally. So
it's so true. It's amazing you mentioned this, because the spiritual destiny, it's I am experiencing this like I never had before in my life. And I'm very connected with myself, like with my higher self. But what I'm going through right now, that's why, like, the awareness of it and recognition of that is, you can hear the plane, because I have like planes. There is like a base of, you will hear it soon.
yeah.
Yeah, they have days when they have like trainings. So I'm in a new place and it's a really nice area, but after my trip to Europe, it's a long story. I don't want to talk about this much now. I think I'm just gonna do live me and tell people what's happening. But the spiritual destiny, or it really is now like the soul is taking over the steering wheel, if I can describe it. Like, an
Mhm.
image, because
Mhm.
I am at this place, and I know that you will understand what I'm trying to say now, that I just completely and fully go within and trust how this
Mhm.
will unfold, whatever is the place for me to be physically, all of this. So the ideas that I used to had prior, before the trip and after the trip to be with my father, has completely been reevaluated. That it's like night and day, like night and day. And this is like with YouTube channel, with who I even have this interaction with, every single thing. Like, it's amazing. And
Mhm.
I'm not afraid of this. I'm
Mhm.
not. I was in the
Mhm.
beginning, because my ego was like, it's like you have to create the content. It's been too long, and in the beginning, like literally, this is like personality. And then
Mhm.
I heard this higher, and even well, people don't know, because I've tried to have a chat with Ashala while I was in Poland, and again, divine order, we were not able to have good connection, and because we shouldn't in that time. Like the
Mhm.
universe was like, Anya, this is not for that. And I feel everything really right now, it's like we gotta trust that there is something higher and bigger and more
Mhm.
evolved and more matured from a different
Mhm.
level. And people cannot anymore hold on to like, we supposed to be this or we supposed to be that, or everything is going like, it's changing, it's ever changing. And
Yes.
I don't know, you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
yeah.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally. You know, it's interesting. While we're chatting, you had an airplane go over,
Mm.
and we've got outside the building, the garbage truck comes. And interesting, like you could probably hear it going by here in a second. It just just made me think about like the garbage is getting taken
The
away,
old
like
stuff, the old
the
stuff is
old
gone.
stuff. The
You
old
don't
stuff
need
is.
this anymore. Yeah, it's gone.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like amazing how like for me, those planes are like, because I'm changing direction and I don't know how long I will be here. Well, I kind of,
And you're
yeah,
flying, you're soaring.
yeah, and I feel like actually this represents something, right? And then you have like garbage is there, so it's like all this, yeah, like it's all around us, like all the time.
Totally. It totally is. Yeah. Yeah. And it just feels so good to have weathered so much of this storm already. You know, that's another piece that I've been getting from Spirit. I'm really excited to hear what questions you're going to offer
Mm.
me. And I'm wondering if they're going to line up with some of the thoughts that I had this morning.
Very
So,
surprising questions, Ashala. You'll be like, what? After this beginning, the questions like this.
okay, let's go for it. I'm curious. Let's do it.
Okay, so I, you know, I don't force questions. The questions just like come to me.
Yeah.
And they actually came to me about 2 weeks ago. Because believe me or not, when I was in Poland, I haven't been watching any videos at all, except listening to one person that actually knows what's happening in this field of everything,
Yeah.
politics, finances, etc. Like she really
Mhm.
does. And I mentioned her many times. Her name is Tori. And I appreciate this woman so much for what she's doing, because she's showing people, she's educating people what was really taking place. That's first. And second, she's empowering them with steps, what they can do as the people, because the people will change that, not one person or two persons in the position. No, the people will change things, and one by one. Okay, so this is like where we go one, we go all, because that's exactly what's going to happen. So there are three things related to her. And maybe what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you those three questions now, and you tell me how you feel with this. So, first of all, she is suing this company I cannot say the name, you know, like this Chinese domino. Okay.
Mhm.
She's suing this company, which is again all around the world, right? But she's suing them in US. And this is serious lawsuit. This is not a joke.
Mhm.
Many people involved, and she has all the evidence, all the documents. She had the affidavit. She actually was part of that.
Mhm.
And I wonder first how this will go. This is first question. Second is something very interesting about what they are trying to do in US. And I think it will be all around the world in a way, some extent. They're gonna do this like they had this in other countries, in Greece, and I think Cyprus had it, capital control. Okay, so they already have this, they already propose that only $600 you can spend, and everything over $600, this is not official yet, but it's in the talks. They're going to
Yeah.
monitor and they're going to block and all of this, you know, how much money you can take out of ATM and the banks and all this madness. So I want to know about this capital control, Ashala. If and when this will take place, because I have a sense it will be around January.
Mm.
And
Okay.
then, yeah, if it's also in Canada and in Europe, or it's just in States. And my third question, I never did this like this, 3 questions in a row, but you choose which one is the one to start with. My last question is this. There is a very strong possibility, it might happen, might not, that one of the requirements for people to be checked, because now they are not really checking if you have been. The only thing you can have, like it's on the phone or something like this. But there is a next level, you know, because people were faking this, okay? Many people were cheating this too, cheating the system. So now my next question is about this. They are actually thinking to do like a blood test and check your DNA, which is like one of the more evolved stages. That's where they're going with this, right? And I'm when I'm saying all of this, I'm really not afraid of any of it, but I have an awareness. Like I'm kind of watching this like a movie, really. But I'm actually aware that I am in the movie, but I'm not allowing this to affect me. So those are my questions. I hope you're okay with them.
I am. I feel like let's go backwards from the blood test piece back through your questions. And yeah, because that one feels obviously incredibly invasive.
Yeah.
And also, you know, a really someone that I admire and follow. I actually had him on my channel, Dan Nielsen. He works with, you know, he's really involved with technology and communications and the internet, and has been working in those realms for decades. And his perspective is that there's a lot of naivety in this grand design that thinks it can like scour into every corner of our lives and force us into acquiescing. You know, it's like there's just so much awareness. Like we are not the people that we were, you know, 50 or 60 years ago. Like this has been compared, what's going on right now has been compared a lot to the times of Nazi Germany.
Oh,
you know, and to me,
totally.
it's like we are, it is, you know, and we can absolutely see, you know, they say it's written in the same playbook, like it's like the strategic steps. And yet we are such a different people than the people of Europe and North America in the 1940s. We are a very, very different breed of beings. And we have a whole different way of networking, not just the internet. Like we just have a different way of approaching life and looking at our personal empowerment and even our rights to choice, our freedoms, you know, those kinds of things we're a lot more acutely aware of and sensitive to. And so, yeah, I mean, this has been a tremendously massive brainwashing campaign. And yet it's very naive to think that even with all those forces and all those tactics, you know, it just feels like not really realistic in this time.
Well,
that this is going to go in that way, to that degree. And this is one of the exciting pieces, because I think you mentioned something about the next 2 or 3 months and that idea about January and the,
yes,
you know, this new capital control piece.
yes.
And what I've been getting and what I've been seeing in all the readings that I'm doing is that we are, by then, by mid-January, we have turned that corner collectively that we've been waiting for months, really. That we are in that. It's one of those things where we've come to the end, the dead end, and we've turned around and we're going the other way, meaning that the collective has been awakened enough that the tide is turning. And you know, in some ways, it feels like that tide can turn very, very quickly with those of us that are ready to jump on the new wave. And I'm also getting that it's going to be about 3 or 4 years where we're still seeing the unraveling, the unweaving of all this. Like it, you know, it will try to weave itself tighter and tighter, but it's already coming apart. So we're going to see a lot of messiness potentially in the next 3 or 4 years, but that, you know, it feels, I can feel the energy of that kind of literally almost like the black and white light switch thing. So my first take, I'm going to look at the cards, but my first intuition about this question about the blood test is I don't think it's going to get that far. I don't feel it's going to go that far. You know, they may be able to get a small select group of volunteers to participate in an experiment like that. But I really feel, you know, I even have been sensing that in the larger collective, in a lot of places, a lot of communities, people are getting tired of turning on each other. Now, I'm not saying there's not any more extreme, you know, activity of violence or conflict. It's almost like as we get closer to that turning the corner, the extreme conflict and violence heightens, but overall people are really getting over turning against each other. There's a real sense of, I'm seeing it in the tenor of the readings I'm doing with mostly really awake people, but even how they're approaching things has shifted so much in the last couple of months, even in the last couple of weeks. So let's have a look and see what we need to know about this idea or this concept.
Because this is really all about getting to your DNA. This is about this, I say, the imprint of God that each one of us has. That's what they are after, pretty much. They are after DNA.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, here's a curveball. An exciting one. Thanks for asking the question. Guess what? Our DNA is changing.
In a good way.
Yeah. So there's the other thing, right? Like they're trying to grab a hold of something. Yeah. And it's already like, I'm getting, in the next 4 months, so many of us are going to be like reformatted genetically that good luck trying to capture that. It's like, bad luck trying to capture that.
This is divine, Ashala. Like it's divine intervention.
Totally. Like look at the star, the 4 of Wands, like we are rising. Yes. We rising. So that's an old game. it's almost like, you know, trying to chase after something, I don't know, and it's already expired, like whatever it is. It's like it's already out of commission, out of service. So it's like trying to grab a technology that's already like out of commission or out of service. It doesn't work anymore. So great, you get that, you get it, but it has no value. So
do you think everyone will be upgraded?
I think everyone has the capacity to be upgraded. I think that, you know, and even here's a really exciting thing that I've been sensing from, I'm getting another thing. I got to say it quickly. I'm getting the babies that are coming in right now are on some kind of a timeline where they're genetically being upgraded like every few weeks.
Wow.
Like they have a different kind of internal activation system. And it's like, it's not like, you know, when we were born, it's like I mean, we know that the human body recreates itself every several years with all new cells, but this is like I literally am feeling like DNA recalibrations that are happening like continually.
But Ashala, look, but they are after children. This is the next step.
Yes, but even like the thing about this is that it's connected to,
it's too fast.
It's too fast, and it's not something you can pin down. It's not something that you can capture and steal. It's not.
Amazing.
So in all of this, I feel like, you know, again, I'm even getting the things that they've tried to capture are quickly losing energy. So it's like they try to, you know, and I'm even talking about their old practices with you know, those substances in the blood that they were addicted to. Like, I feel like that is shifting as well, and it's losing energy. So, and it's also like this vortex that's turning in, like, it feels like they're at that place in their story where their practices are starting to turn on them and consume them.
Wow. This is like on the planetary level. Like you were talking, I literally saw like literally an image of the energy moving away from certain area, like moving away, like you were saying, like moving away and redirected. Therefore, that doesn't hold this energy anymore, because this is like ever evolving and going. Wow.
Yes. So it had its wave of really gaining momentum.
Yeah.
When we were all still collectively in that dark soup, and there was just a lot of energy there, but so much of that is shifting out of that realm that there's not much energy there anymore. And so therefore, if that's all they have, they're going to start deteriorating.
It cannot sustain, because it's not creative energy. So it doesn't recreate. Right. So it cannot sustain itself.
You know, it's that the guides are saying it's kind of like taking from a planet, like say, you know, minerals or oil or whatever. And it's like, okay, if that's what you're getting your energy from, you're stealing. Once it runs out,
that's it.
It's gone.
Because you don't have any supply. No new supply.
No new supply. And so even if they can, you know, access the blood of whatever beings and the DNA, what they used to be able to do with that and how they used to be able to like receive something, steal something from it is quickly changing and shifting and not going to be the case. That's
why, isn't it, Ashala, can I just say, that's why we have been feeling this, how quickly, we know time doesn't exist yet, however, we still relate to time in this agreement on this planet, okay? But how fast the time is going, it's actually representing this, like, and how fast we are changing, like how quickly our opinions are changing, our interactions with people, right? Even like our preference with people or with things or with occupations, like literally and this represents like you gotta catch up with this energy, like you go with this flow, because if you don't, you're out. So I trust, like that's why I'm trusting this, like don't worry, just trust the go.
Well, and when you said that, you know, if you don't catch up, and there's almost a feeling like we have to do something, we've got to hurry, or we got to, like we're in trouble. And I feel like it's actually, we're being more and more guided and protected.
Yes.
There's not really a catching up. There's more a like,
Yeah, it's like
almost like a relax and just
it
actually
takes over you, like on Aladdin carpet, like on this rack, and like you sit on this rack, it's like Aladdin, and it's like
which is what you were saying about, you know, your journey and how so much has shifted in your personality and in like, yeah, what you're needing, what you're caring about, what you're focusing on, all of those things.
What matters. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and then because it's the time of year and because it's something I'm so passionate about, you know, the ancestors are showing up in a way, 10 of Pentacles here, which feels to me like there's a real, almost like a collective investment in helping us have a new relationship with the earth and our resources. So it's this feeling of like we are being connected with our ancestors, and they're going to be bringing a lot of support in the material. So this goes on to our next question about the controlling of the capital.
Capital control. Capital
control. So
$600, Ashala. Can you imagine? Any transaction above that is going to be reported to IRS, and they're gonna look into your accounts and whatever the next step is, I have no idea. But I think how they can control people, like they still can control people with money, because there's a lot of people. I think I reached this point in my life when I'm like, you know what, if I have nothing, like literally nothing, like nothing, I mean like nothing, because I was very close to it in my life, maybe not like that, but very close. I feel like I would be like, you know what, whatever, I still gonna find a way to survive.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm gonna go from the outside, like the end game backwards, in terms of our. Okay, here's what I'm getting as we're receiving these insights, which are so valuable, because it's like having a look at the whole playbook, right? We don't want to only have our naive side of the playbook. We want to see the opponent's side of the playbook. However, it's almost like the guides are saying, no, they're not really the opponents. They're more like the irritants or the tricksters that are keeping us on our toes, keeping us growing, keeping us moving. So what I'm seeing is if we start with where we're going and move our way backwards, we can see how what they're trying to do is actually helping us go where we're going.
Okay.
So where we're going is a new system.
Mm-hmm.
King of Pentacles, the star, again, that beautiful star energy of we are going into a new system of resource management. And it does feel like it is global, but it is very regional and small scale. Like there isn't a you know, I understand the importance of equality all over the globe, and, you know, a balancing of resource management, and, you know, a balancing of who has and who has not and all that kind of stuff. However, what's dangerous is when we're looking at centralized control, when those managements are done from a centralized power system.
Yes.
Corruption is
exactly
ready to go.
This whole concept of European Union and stuff like this. Exactly.
Oh, and a one world government, and
each country, if it's sovereign and strong on its own, and that strength is actually much more beneficial to every other country, collaborating, trading, right?
It's actually it's an ideology that we're ready to adopt. It's a new ideology that's not communism, it's not capitalism, it's a new thing. And it actually goes back to more of the egalitarian ancient cultures that lived closer to the land. So it is basically an earth-based, land-based resource, honoring system. It's an honor system, and it focuses on a whole new set of values. It's a change of a value system. And we're being pushed into a position where, like you were saying, what really matters is coming forward.
Yes.
So we're getting beyond, we're almost waking up of that sleepy game, which was dog eat dog, and every person for themselves, and success is all that matters, and
Yes, exactly.
monetary success is what shows you that you have value, and all that nonsense. We're getting to a place where we're like, that stuff is just out the window, and what's going to matter is how we live with each other, with the land, with our resources,
What
how
we
we eat.
feel in your heart, what you feel in your heart, right? If you can still feel in your heart, because many people lost that in this search and this pursuit of the idea that was shown to us.
Yeah.
They lost the ability to really experience love. There are so many levels. Like that trip for me, I just want to say it now, it was about tapping into this field of love. You cannot buy it, you cannot find it. There's nothing more beautiful than feel it.
Yes.
And this whole lifestyle, the Western lifestyle, let's say, however, it's all around the world, it's like they really took you out of you, and you were operating like this machine in the system.
Mm-hmm. And trying to replace the things that actually really matter to humans, like connection and meaning, and celebration
and compassion, and yes.
Yeah. And basically tried to replace those with material things.
Yes.
And this attitude of competitiveness, which competition is awesome. It has a real value, but to place it where, you're literally, you don't get your needs met unless you can be part of this competitive cycle. It just, the whole thing is a lot about, it's the value system backwards. And we know that that's the work of the dark forces, which have that way of turning everything upside down and confusing us. So first of all, I got that feeling like in the big picture, in the long run, we are moving towards this new system of new values. However, it could be decades. It would be at least, 7 or 8 years. It's interesting. I'm feeling that number 7 because that's how much time, like if we see ourselves right here in this next 2 or 3 months as the turning point, and then we add, then 7 years for every cell in our body to be renewed from that new value system, that's when we would really see it, everything on the external shifting. I always talk to people about this as a pentacle, our King of Pentacles here. And I always talk to people about the pentacles are the final suit in the tarot. They are the material realm, and everything else changes, but the pentacles take such a very, very long time to register that change and to show it in the material realm. So I think we're going to be still slogging through a lot of the old, but as long as we know where we're headed, it's going to start feeling clearer and clearer, brighter and brighter, lighter and lighter,
So Ashala, are they going to implement that capital control?
Well, I think they're going to have a good go at it. Yeah. And I think we are going to see at least 3 or 4 months, the next 3 or 4 months of a lot of losses, what we're going to call losses, okay, in terms of finances. But I really, really want people to notice that, just as you said, these are losses on the emotional realm. So this is like where we feel sorry for ourselves, And so if we look at it, you look at this card, it's a classic 5 of Cups. The guy's looking down at the things that are lost in front of him there. But right behind him are 2 beautiful full cups that he's not registering because he's too busy focusing on the loss. So this means that as we are experiencing the losses and, feeling sorry for it, feeling the emotion, feeling the grief, I mean, it is a loss, right?
Yeah.
We've put a lot of energy into making these systems or participating in them and working hard and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like, oh, I just lost my blah, blah. Like I lost my, my pension or my this or my that or whatever. And then, anxiety about survival. However, what is showing up right here in the very present is the work card, which is like, whenever, like we experience this loss, but it's actually a gain because there's something new that we can discover about how we can put our skills to use, whatever they are, and create something new. I also feel like there's going to be a huge backlash to this. Like people are going to really freak out. This could be, remember I said that I felt like there's this 2 or 3 months is a turning point where things are
Yes.
going to, this could be the turning point. This could be where people are like, no way. That the buck stops here, literally. Like, no way. We're not acquiescing to this. So, in the long range of things, it might be the kind of wake up, shake up that we need to make these bigger shifts in a system that we've known for eons is not working. It's not really healthy and sustainable.
Yeah, and to become creative and more self-sufficient, not to depend on the governments.
Exactly. And, there's always going to be that option. And I'm not against taking whatever little pittance they're offering as a transitional step. I'm not telling people, oh, don't take the whatever.
No, but it's true. But then relying only on that.
Yes.
Where is the problem? Yeah.
Take it and take the initiative to use that time wisely to look at other options. And I mean, I understand some people are elderly. They maybe don't have the capacity to work or contribute in those ways. But there's, it's interesting. I just did 2 readings for 2 elderly people this week who are in their 70s. And they're looking at new ways of working together with what they have to create different long-term care options.
Amazing.
That are like collective with awake people and, accessing certain government monies, but also like a new system. It's just fascinating. So no matter where you fall in the spectrum, like I do feel the importance of accessing what you can and what you need to right now for this transitional time, but like not to just settle into that and go, okay, the government will look after me for the rest of my life. To use that as the startup fund for your new project,
100%. Yes.
Let's make their contributions work in our favor.
Yes.
Yeah. And the fear, the fear factor is real for sure, because we're all facing the fear, the moon there at the front. We're all facing our mortality. These things bring up the biggest fears. It's like, oh, I'm going to be homeless. I'm not going to have any income.
Yeah.
And I'm going to die out on the street or something.
But then look, Ashala, can I just say our idea of how much do we really need? It's also twisted.
It sure is.
How much, like, honestly, I have my lovely chair with me and my bookcase. I put my computer on it. I have 0 furniture. I have 1 chair in another room that is like a bar stool, and I am like very slow with even buying furniture because I don't know how long I will be here. And I say to myself, what do I really need right now? Like, I am utilizing everything I have to just to live another day and to do things. And we don't need, and I was moving boxes and I was looking at stuff, and I don't have a lot actually, but still, like, I have clothes and things like this, and I'm like, I don't know, it's like, it's no longer me. This is no longer me. This is no longer me. And we don't need so much. We really don't need a lot. We don't.
I agree entirely. And, you know, I've been a wild living on the edge gypsy my whole adult life. And I've recreated and disassembled my life so many times in different places
Amazing.
with very little,
Yep.
but a lot of creativity, as you can see,
Yes,
you know.
exactly. Right. And it's like,
And
no one could
I mean,
tell. No one could
oh my
tell.
gosh. And so many of my friends and my kids are like that. Like, I just live in a world where I've already faced those fears. Like, I'm not saying I don't have any fears. Of course I do. But I've already
Yeah.
lived with those
You
kind of
lived through
fears.
them. Yes.
Yeah. And you realize that it actually, you know, the reality is it's just not likely going to go the way you really are afraid. Like, people do reach out and help each other. It's changing your value system. It's changing how you operate, and that's the scariest, most uncomfortable, and you know, disappointing or traumatizing part of it, is to change yourself. And it's not going to happen overnight. But look at this on the bottom.
Oh, wow.
The 10 of Cups is like, you know, it's going to be better in the long run than you think. Again, like I said, you know, there's the World card, a new stepping through a
Amazing.
gateway. So, you know, it's a transition. And the last one under that pile is this Two of Pentacles. So you're going to have up days and you're going to have down days, just like we always have. You know, this reminds me, Anya, I heard a comparison. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I heard a comparison where they said, you know, people who, say, for example, won the lottery,
Yeah.
or had a disability that came from a tragic accident.
Yeah.
They check in with them like 6 months to a year after that big life-changing experience.
And they go back.
And so much, like the
Yeah.
people who won the lottery, who were always like fearful of money and had a lot of
Because
issues,
that hasn't changed.
they're still going to have that.
The
They're still going to,
blueprint
now
is
they've
the
got,
same. Yeah, the blueprint
totally,
is the same.
it's the same. And the people who have, you know, have had the tragic accident, if they were very positive people to begin with, they're going to start to transform their lives and see it from that angle, no matter, you know, like, even through all their suffering. So I feel like that's what we're going through right now. We're actually being shown our true selves. That's where the work is. The work is, you know, we all have our weak spots. Some of us have a lot of stuff, a lot of trauma to clear.
Yes.
And, you know, the more we do that work, the easier it's going to be to ride what seems like these highs and lows. But really, again, it's going to be a reflection of who we really are.
You know,
Yeah.
I have to say this because when you talk, I literally receive like pictures or like words. So I had this great conversation with one of my friends. We don't talk too often, but we know each other for a very long time. We work at Chanel store together many years ago. And he's from Turkey originally, from Istanbul. And we talked a few days ago, and I said to him, it's very hard for me to find myself back in this, because I enter US back and I felt the energy of what's happening here so strongly. I cannot put into words. I felt this like I came back from a completely different reality. And I realize when we talk, and he has the same feeling, like he's returning to Europe, and I might be going back for some time to be with my father. I don't know for how long, but for some time. And I feel that our souls, I speak for my soul, but interesting because he had the same observation, very deep guy. He said, you know, Anya, this is like, this time our soul is like, no, we're not gonna choose what we used to choose in other lifetimes. We're not gonna be afraid anymore. This is like, we are literally facing it and making a conscious decision of take a different approach, choose a different road, make different decisions. completely.
Yes. Yes.
On
Absolutely.
the soul level, like literally on the soul level.
And I have to tell you, you know, I'm doing readings with people all over the world, most of them very awake people, and I am just blown away at the degree of courage, of sovereignty, of mind, body, spirit, like amidst all kinds of incredible challenges. Like I have listened to stories of people who are completely isolated, who are surrounded, don't have a soul around them to talk to about this. Like basically their community is on YouTube. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have so much respect and compassion for them. And this is where we see, you know, like if you feel like you don't have anything to contribute, notice there, like reach out, look for ways, look for community involvement with different, you know, awake organizations or online forums that are having connections and chats. Like just giving moral support to each other during this time is so valuable. There's, you know, just listening to someone, what they're going through. And like, I feel like this is an ideal time for us to start networking, support communities amongst ourselves, because like once you get into that spirit of what do I have to share, what do I have to offer, even if it's just a listening ear and some compassion, like that, a safe place for someone to share what they're going through, like that has so much value. You just don't know how that little act might give them the courage to do the thing they need to do in their lives right now that could change everything. So like, you know, this is what we have. The power we have is in our generosity with one another, in our compassion, in our caring for each other. And when people step out of their like fear, you know, I'm vulnerable, I'm alone, you know, like I feel attacked or overwhelmed or disempowered, like, and step into, I'm not the only one. And let me tell you, some of the stories I've heard from people around the world are very, very intense. And they're standing strong and courageous. And,
you know, it comes to the point when you have nothing to lose. And when you have nothing to lose, that's actually, that's the most liberating, encouraging moment, when you have nothing to lose. And the more we get attached to objects, to ways of living, everything, it's disempowering. Like, I think when we have nothing to lose, because it's coming to this point, it's like you either do it now or never.
Exactly. Well, this brings me to our last question, which was your first one. And I just pulled for your friend. The past was the justice card.
She's not my friend, but I admire her so much.
Oh, okay. For your your person that you admire. I pulled in the past the justice card, meaning what's really important is that justice is being served.
Yep.
In the present, the Knight of Pentacles,
so the
meaning
the lawsuit.
It's a long road. The lawsuit. Yeah. And in the present, Nine of Pentacles, kind of what we were just talking about. Like she's like a hound on a trail, you know, she's just slow and steady and work away at the details. It's almost more like that is the gift, is her perseverance. And she's already won, because you know what I mean? She's already won because she's not giving up. No, and then in the near future, like something really good is going to come of this. The Queen of Pentacles, she is going to receive. She's magnetizing. Oh yeah, she's magnetizing. Eight of Wands, energy. So it might not look like what she expects, the outcome, but it's going to create the wave of revolution that she's hoping for, and maybe even better. So something good is it. Yeah, and it's her tenacity that's really ensuring, like she sticks to her guns. And like it might not, you know what I mean? It's like whatever that particular resolution in the court system looks like, the wave that it creates will
Right.
be the
The
thing that
ripple
she
effect.
really wants to,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And it's going to change a lot because it's also, it's not just for US, but it's this very machine that has been used in Canada, in Germany, in Spain, every freaking where.
Exactly. You know, and it's really literally, I want to say, you know, to wrap our whole divination process up here today, it's really about, we're getting so much like wiser. We're getting wiser.
Yeah.
And smarter, and like, it's as we wake up, we are getting wiser to even, you know, first we were getting smarter because we were learning all these truths were coming out. And we were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. And, you know, and there was just like all this information. Now we're getting a lot wiser as to how to use that information for our benefit. And it's not just about like all these little pieces of information, like, you know, this agenda and that agenda and all that. Like, if you just try to deal with them one-on-one, it's pretty challenging, right? But it's more the broad sweep of looking at what we're dealing with and getting wise as to how to play this game.
Ashala,
So,
thank you. Thank you for this.
Wisdom rules here,
Can
folks.
I ask you one more question? Because
yes.
it came to me, and I really appreciate your time today so much. And I'm so happy we actually have normal connection. Like, it's.
I know, it was meant to be finally.
So there is I'm not into crypto. I am into gold and silver, but this is a different topic that I will be talking soon with Pimpy. But there is a coin, a crypto coin, that when I heard of this from Pimpy, actually, I felt with all my being that this is different because I have no interest in crypto. However, that particular coin, I felt like this is something to pay attention to. So this coin is called Shiba, like a dog, Shiba. And it's acting, from what I understand, because I don't understand a lot, but I understand that it's acting really, really different in comparison to other cryptos. And it's actually going to be, something's gonna happen really good about it. Like, it's actually growing, and like, you know, I don't know what vocabulary to use. What I'm trying to say, there is enormous potential in that. So I want to see if this is actually good coin. That's my last question. It's very specific.
Well, again, a little bit of an evasive answer. It's opened things up. You're right. It's got a new approach. The world, there's something different, absolutely. But we've got 3 water cards here, 3 emotional cards, 8 of Cups, 6 of Cups, Queen of Cups. So it's what's different is something about how we're relating to this system. It's not, we don't have any monetary cards here. So I don't know if it's going to produce in the monetary realm the way we're hoping it will, in the time frame we're hoping it will. But there's something about looking at the way it's acting, what it represents, what it's showing us, a new way of look. Again, the value system. Something about this is cracking a code to a new system. So, and I just want to make a mention here that I am interviewing someone who has a lot of knowledge about international marketplaces, trading, like exchange marketplaces and different cryptocurrencies. And I'm doing that interview in the next week on my channel. So I'm going to ask about this when I speak with him, and just because I really see that you're aware that there's something special about this, and I do see that, but I feel like it's in the realm of the feeling realm right now. So let's see what that could be about.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Ashala. We see.
You're so welcome, Anya.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And everyone, I will attach all the links below as always. So are you still open for readings, Ashala? How is the reading situation?
Absolutely. I'm open again. It's been a little bit fluctuating over the last couple of months because, I was very sick and then moving and all this kind of
Yes.
stuff, but I'm up for business and yeah, that. And please keep tuned into my YouTube channel as well, because I'm posting all kinds of new stuff in the next couple of weeks.
So subscribe to Ashala, the links below, and then I put Ashala's website, Eye of the World, so you can connect with her through the website if you want to book the reading. And yes, until next time, Ashala, thank you so much. We might be more often doing this, I hope.
Awesome.
Thank you everyone for watching. See you next time.